Hello, so today I'm gonna do something more culture war orientated. Okay, so basically, these credit card companies such as Visa and MasterCard are pulling out of anime and manga out of the anime and manga industry, right? And they're basically saying we no longer handle payments on Japanese websites that sell certain items, right, that we don't approve of, right, or host certain items that we don't approve of, right, unless you censor, right. So they're basically forcing Japanese companies, anime and manga companies, or websites into self-censorship, right. They're putting pressure on them, basically, right. Near creator Yoko Taro voiced concern over the rise in credit card companies refusing to handle adult content. If they have control of the clearinghouse, they can even use it to control speech in other countries. Right, so this is a very dangerous situation, obviously. And what is sort of missed out in this whole discussion is what is actually driving this? Why are credit card companies such as Visa and MasterCard doing this? Right? What is their motive actually? And there are several videos that cover this, right? From bounding into comics, for example, Japan needs help, Melon Books seizes Visa and MasterCard payments, Japan regulators are powerless, right? Or this one here, right? They want to end Japan's artistic freedom, right? So all kinds of videos, GB reviews, also the UN, right? The UN also wants to crack down on anime and manga, right? Saying that it supposedly promotes violence against women and stuff like that, okay? And with that being said, there's already a clear hint what is actually behind this, right? That none of these channels, Yellow Flash, Chibi Reviews, Rev, Bounding into Comics, none of them, so as far as I know, have mentioned what is actually driving this, and it's one word: feminism. Okay, feminism is what is driving this crackdown on anime and manga and video games, etc. That is what it is. That is the main driver. Probably the only driver, but it's definitely the main one. They want to destroy male hobbies. They want to destroy what men like. That is the issue. That is the thing that needs to be called out here. This is a clear pattern, right? This is an attack on something that men enjoy by feminism, okay? And people like Bounding into Comics, Chibi, etc., they have never mentioned that aspect, right? They have all sorts of other theories or whatever, but they never mentioned that. Let me just show you something, right? So, again, the majority of the anime consumers are male, okay? This is why they go after this. This is why they go after anime and manga, okay? So let's just hear one example of someone who frames this issue in the incorrect way.
Is that the theory that's going around that I mentioned before that car went by was that Australia's regulations on pornography may be influencing these sales for Visa and MasterCard. And so, because in Japan there are manga and, entertainment properties that do imply that characters are underage in sexual situations, this violates Australia's pornography laws. And thus, that means that they have to regulate that in their country. Now, in order to avoid being brought up on charges for supporting this stuff in other countries, Visa probably just wanted to wash their hands of the whole thing. An optics situation. So they...
No, this is not what it is. This has nothing to do with optics or whatever. Okay? Let me just show you something. Okay, this is on Visa's website. Visa champions a new decade for women's empowerment. So it's clearly feminism. Okay? Visa is feminist. Same goes for MasterCard. Give me 5 drives gender equality around the world. Engaging, enabling, and empowering women. Okay? Feminism. MasterCard, feminist. Visa, feminist. Okay? Here's more evidence why investing in women matters now more than ever. Clearly feminist. Same with the UN. Why is the UN cracking down on anime? Bias against men's issues within the United Nations. Again, the UN, 100% feminist.
Appreciate your support. So this would actually get the attention of many people throughout the creative side of Japanese media, including Yoko Taro, the creator, of course, of Nier Automata, who had this to say: credit card payment companies are refusing to accept payments for legal adult content. Unlawful regulations have been implemented in publishing and other areas before, but I feel that the level of danger is on a different level when payment companies, which are involved in the entire distribution infrastructure, are able to make such decisions at their own discretion. If they control payment companies, they could even use it to censor speech in other countries. Quoting that, he would say, "It's not just a matter of adult content regulations or freedom of expression. It feels like a security hole for democracy as a whole."
So there you have it. A security hole for democracy itself. This is what feminism does. Okay? This is what feminism does in a nutshell. Feminism is against freedom. Let's hear another one. Okay, here's Shibi on UN's crackdown on anime and manga.
Been going on in this world. It's very clear that anime has become a lot more accepting and popular as of late, and this gets into the discussion I had at the beginning of the video, and I think one of the big driving forces of maybe anti-anime is probably Hollywood to a degree, because it's like, let's be honest, there's a lot more fans of anime nowadays, a lot more people stepping their toes into the anime for the first time, and obviously that could cause a lot of people not to really care about much what's coming out of Hollywood in comparison. So I do think it potentially has an effect on them, and maybe some people over there as well in like entertainment industry is not a big fan of anime potentially becoming as popular as it is, because it is theoretically stepping on their toes.
No, that's not what it is. The UN cracking down on anime has nothing to do with Hollywood. It has everything to do with feminism. Feminism, okay? I mean Hollywood, they could just produce their own version of anime. Like, for example, Hollywood didn't do that, as far as I know, but they are like American or Western creations that are sort of anime-like or are inspired by anime, such as Avatar: The Last Airbender. That is inspired by anime and is even sometimes classified as an anime, even though it is Western produced. Right? So Hollywood and the West can actually compete with anime if they wanted to, right? So this has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with feminism, with attacking what men like. This is the clearest and most obvious reason why this is happening. Okay? Let's also hear from Yellow Flash on this.
Characters. Here's the study right here. I might do a video on this, or I might just talk about it Saturday, but it's very interesting. We will go over it, but here's what happened, basically. The United Nations Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, the CEDAW.
Think about the title also of this committee, like Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, right? So first of all, they don't have that for men, okay? But yeah, the title itself gives away. It is clear that they're radical.
waste of money this is. Not like, why are you patrolling anime when there's actually like real problems? Like, for example, some of the stuff in the Middle East with women, like them not even being able to drive cars or get an education or
Bullshit. This is absolute nonsense, and I'm gonna quickly debunk this, even though the video's main focus is on anime, right? But in the Middle East, women are not discriminated against. When it comes to Middle Eastern women's education, in most countries there are more women attending university than men. In most Middle Eastern countries, okay, you can clearly see it here. Okay, and they might say, oh, they lose out in the job market or whatever, right? But this can be explained through their own choices, right? Through them basically wanting to have a provider husband, right? And when it comes to driving, women can drive. Okay, Yellow Flash, so there's nothing but TradCon bullshit propaganda from you.
I don't know, like having to ask their father's permission to go outside. Some of the stuff that happens over there, I would say that should
Absolute nonsense.
that should be higher up on the priority list than, I don't know, cartoon drawings in video games. But whatever. We know what this is all about. It's the fact that anime and video games are high up there in popularity and they make a lot of money, so they want to control it and regulate it. So
Bullshit. This is about feminism. This is about destroying what men like. This has nothing to do with that is popular, right? Think about this, right? Or it makes money, it is popular, therefore they want to destroy it. Like they are like, this doesn't make any sense. Why should this be the reason that they go after this, after anime and manga and video games, right? Like there are a lot of things that make a lot of money and that are popular that they don't go after, right? They don't go after what women like, for example, that makes a lot of money, right? And let me just say this, like, when it comes to anime and manga supposedly inciting violence against women or something, this claim in itself is so laughable that I don't even feel the need to sort of debunk it or anything like that. Like, seriously, this is the most laughable claim ever. Okay? Seriously, this is like flat earther level. Seriously, I mean, again, this claim is so idiotic that I don't even feel the need to sort of look into sort of the origins of the claim and the report and look into some stats on that or something, right? I don't even feel the need to do that, which I normally do on my channel, right? But this claim is so mind-numbingly stupid that I just think it can just be dismissed, basically, right? It can just be dismissed. It is so idiotic. Like, in a normal world, we would just laugh these people out of the building and it wouldn't be taken seriously. But unfortunately, we live in this female supremacist, feminist world that such things are taken seriously, unfortunately, right? But let's go on.
it falls more in line with the rest of the bullshit that comes out in the West. According to has reportedly expressed concerns about Japanese media and the speculated impact it could have on.
And by the way, censorship is not just in the West or coming from the West. It's in all sorts of places, right? Because of misandry, because of feminism, etc. But also sometimes also because of TradCon influence as well, right? So, for example, in China, there were certain web novels that were not to the liking of the Chinese Communist Party that were censored or that were banned, like Reverent Insanity, for example, which is my favorite web novel out of China. And yeah, they basically banned this because it was not promoting Chinese traditionalism, basically, right? It was more individualistic. But yeah, it's an amazing web novel. I suggest you all read it. Okay, just want to make that clear. But yeah, they basically banned it, basically for like tradcon reasons.
On gender and sex-based violence, because people sit down and watch Sailor Moon and then they want to go out and just start slamming women around. According to free speech advocate and politician Yamada Taro, the Japanese Cabinet Office, Gender Equality Bureau, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed the contents of their meeting with the CEDAW. However, nothing further was said about the current state of Japanese media. The Japanese government has been thankfully slow to respond to external pressure when it comes to censorship of Japanese media, although the same cannot be said for its corporations. And I talked about that a little bit. The companies, they're just jumping to get involved with DEI, and it's quite sad.
More coping language? No, it's feminism. DEI is just code words for feminism. Female supremacism. Everything that women don't like and that men enjoy will get censored and will be attacked. That is the reality of the situation. Again, most anime and manga fans are male. Most people who play video games are male. This is not a coincidence that they go after these things that men like, right? If it was the other way around, let's say we lived in this hypothetical world where most anime and manga fans were female, let's say 80% or so, and also most video game players are female, right? They would never touch these things. They wouldn't even think of touching these things, right? And this is just very clear. I mean, they don't go after what women enjoy, which is sometimes also very violent and graphic, like these romance novels, quote unquote romance novels here that you can see here, right? Stuff like 50 Shades of Grey and stuff like that. They don't go after that, right? And this stuff also makes a lot of money, right? So this, I mean, and there are like many things in a novel format and coming from the West and also in movie format that are way more violent than anime and manga. Okay. And I know anime and manga very well. Okay, I'm an anime and manga consumer since my childhood, basically. I know this medium very, 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 very well. Okay. And even the most violent stuff in anime and manga cannot compete to some of the violent novels or movies out there that are produced in the West, such as Blood Meridian, for example, right? As far as I know, that is not censored, right? So, and also when it comes to, let's also talk quickly about anime and manga and women and female characters, because a lot of times you hear from feminists in the anime community and in the anime review community that there's sort of a problem with female characters within anime and manga or whatever. This is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Okay, I have seen so many anime and read so many manga where there are great female characters, right? That have interesting personalities, that are very well developed, very complex, that have interesting backstories, that are very inspirational even. Okay, there are many examples of this. There are even entire genres where there are only female characters, or where there's like a main cast full of female characters, or where there's a female protagonist, right? Like for example, a magical girl genre, right? Such as Madoka Magica, for example, right? So, Like there are many examples of female characters that are interesting, that are very well developed, that are humanized within anime and manga, right? So this criticism is absolute nonsense, complete nonsense. Like, I mean, you have, for example, an ergo proxy Riel Mayer, who's a strong, quote unquote, strong female character, but not in a feminist sense, but in an actual sense, right? Like a kick-ass female protagonist, right? Who also develops and becomes more psychologically complex over the course of the series, right? You got the female protagonist of Ghost in a Shell, right? You got Serial Experiments Lane. You got all kinds of interesting magical girl anime. You got Elfen Lied, Lucy. Well, she's not technically the protagonist, but nonetheless, interesting, complex female character. So you got Casca from Berserk. You got Nao Kanzaki from Liar Game. You got all kinds of interesting, well-developed female characters. So it's absolute nonsense that anime and manga hates women or some bullshit like that, right? Like everybody who knows the medium knows that this is not true, right? And in video games the same, right? You got 2B from Nier Automata, right? You got the female characters within the Persona 5 games, for example. It's clear, right? So, but yeah, feminists, they attack this medium regardless of that, obviously.
But for the time being, free speech remains enshrined in Japanese law with few exceptions. The problem, and he's going to talk about this, is that Japan hasn't really seriously discussed any of this yet. So we're kind of waiting on that. But it's good that people like this guy are there to fight that stuff. Because some of the best stuff now comes from Japan, because they could tell the stories they want to tell without, for the most part, people breathing down their neck on what it can and can't have and what's right, what's wrong. They can pretty much just create what they want. We get some of the best stories from Japan, in my opinion. At least now we do. It used to be a little bit more even, but honestly, like some of the best shit is anime now, in my opinion. And you might not share it, but there's great stories that come from that country now. And we don't really get that much from Hollywood because everything is either political or tries to be inoffensive. Like Venom 3 pretty much tried to not offend anybody. And we're living in wild times.
Yeah, some of the best stuff also comes from China. Some of the best web novels. But anyway, obviously, feminists are very powerful. Again, like I said, the credit card companies full of feminism. Look at this. Look at this, right? Also, PayPal, advancing economic equity for women and girls. How PayPal is helping to create a more quote-unquote inclusive future. Inclusive means exclusive of men, right? Also, Blackstone wants to be more involved within the anime industry, and clearly they're feminists as well. So, this is clearly driven by feminism, right? By misandry. And yeah, these YouTubers here have failed to call it that, to call this out, right? This needs to be bluntly discussed like that. Because there's a clear pattern, right? There's a saying in The Art of War, if you don't know the enemy, then you cannot win the war, right? And if you don't know what causes this, right, the censorship of anime, manga, video games, comics, right, etc., right, stuff that men like, if you don't know or if you don't see that it is feminism, then how can you fight it? How can you defend yourself against it, right? It's just going to be happening over and over and over again, and you're just going to be baffled every time, right? So you need to be open and honest about this, right? Feminism is just something that needs to be banned from all areas of society, basically. Because it seeks to destroy men and everything that men like, including art and entertainment, right? But also in other areas. Okay? This is just very clear. This has real consequences. So yeah, that's basically what we need to do. And of course, there's going to be some countermeasures, like they do certain alternatives for payment on these websites here, right? And some people are also discussing like crypto, right, and more independent payment alternatives, which is fine, I guess. But the thing is, feminism will still try to censor what men like, ultimately. Like, it's going to be this constant force, right? This constant threat is always looming. This is why feminism needs to be discredited. Also by mainstream society, right? Yeah. So this is basically what I wanted to do on this video. I'm probably gonna cover more anime and manga, or anime and manga related topics, and more culture war topics that are sort of related to men's rights in the future on this channel. Okay? Because it's just very interesting, and I'm a fan of anime and manga. So of course I want to defend it from feminism. It's that simple, pretty much. But yeah, and also on the topic of censorship, let's just quickly talk about how YouTube is basically censoring my channel, right? Or how they hinder the growth on my channel, right? So let me just show you something, right? This is just very interesting. So 7 months ago, roughly 7 months ago, let's say from this video, right? Misandry doesn't exist. Let's say from this video, 7 months ago, the average view count on my channel per video was like, the average view count was roughly 1,000. Roughly speaking, like, let's see, 1,200, 1,800, 1,200, 800, 1,300, 800, 1,000, 1,100, 1,800, 1,200, 1,700, 1,500, 1,400, 3,000, 1,700, 2,000, 1,400, and 900. Okay? So like for 7 months, it was, I mean, I haven't calculated this, but I just guess like something like 1,000 clicks on average, right? Just guesstimating this, okay? And after that, after this video on Ozymandias, it's 400, 300, 400, 200, 100, 400, 200, right? So roughly 300 view count on average per video. Okay? This is a reduction in view count of roughly 70%. A 70% decline on viewership on my videos. This is clear indication that the algorithms are pushing my channel down. This is clear indication of this, because I haven't changed my style. I haven't done anything differently, pretty much, right? Yeah, YouTube is clearly taking away my view count or my viewership, right? It's that simple. And I have even noticed how they artificially reduced the view count on some of my videos, right? So where, for example, this video here had something like 400 clicks or 300 clicks or something, and now it has 270 clicks. Same thing with this video, same thing with this video, and some other videos, right? I've shown evidence of this in another video. Okay. So yeah, YouTube is engaging in censorship on men's rights content. And think about what other content there is on YouTube that is not censored. There is actual Nazi. There's actual like far-right content on YouTube that is not censored, that is actually attracting thousands and thousands of views. Okay? Mr. Pink and Yellow and I did already a hangout on this, right? And this is just crazy, right? So content that promotes equal rights for men and women, that promotes human rights for men, that gets censored, but literal far-right fascist content, that doesn't get censored, that gets promoted by the algorithm. That is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting, and it tells you volumes about social media and YouTube and these algorithms. They only care about putting down men. Okay? They only care about attacking men. That is what they care about. So yeah, thanks for watching.